Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
ignition. Gentlemen,
Oh, friends.
Huzzah.
Here we are.
here we are.
We did it.
Live in studio.
Live on tape.
Live on data chip, floppy disk, for another episode of all of the good news and the good things that religion can do to enrich your life.
That's
Yes,
right.
That's our goal. We aim to make you just to expand your religious horizons.
That's
Why
right.
join one? You can join them all.
Yeah, do join them all.
And Doug, you're going to talk about how the rules are made. And
I'm going to talk about what happens to Statler when Waldorf dies.
Oh, I love it.
Yes,
Muppets
indeed.
never die. They just
They just
get put in a cupboard.
Oh, that's a sad life. Not life. And then I'm going to I'm going to delve deep into the into I don't know.
Trans superheroism.
Yes.
I'm so sick of you covering this topic, but we're going to do it again.
We'll keep going until you get it, Mark.
Until I finally fucking understand. And I am going to do the second part of the off-ramp to the highway to hell.
Yes, indeed.
That's
We're all saved now. So
The good news.
let's do it then. Oh, Uncle Mark.
Yes.
We live in a land bountiful with
Well, we're just south of Bountiful.
a flowing font of white folk.
That is
We
for
have hot and cold running white folk, mostly cold.
Mostly cold.
And I think I'm getting an inkling. My power of discernment is telling me that Doug's going to talk about the employment situation among elderly white men.
That's right.
In the state of Utah.
sure.
Yes.
Welfare for old white men. Yeah, very, very important. Well, for those of you listeners not living in the pretty great state of Utah, that's an inside joke for my fellow Deseretters.
yeah.
Yeah, super good.
Of a certain age.
Exactly.
Super good joke.
You probably have no idea that we're living through the most egregious and anti-democratic legislative session in the state's history.
Oh, it's getting nasty.
This legislature gutted 2 ballot initiatives that were passed overwhelmingly by the people, passed laws making it harder to pass ballot initiatives,
Yes.
turned a law designed to protect victims of conversion therapy on its head, so now it protects the perpetrators of conversion therapy.
Yeah.
And the session's not over yet.
Yeah.
So-
Who knows what they could do?
Isn't it over? I thought it just ended.
No, it ends this week.
Oh, God.
So there's still time.
Still time.
Still time.
They also managed to not allow beer sales of over 3.2%.
Yeah, they fucked with the alcohol levels of beer once again.
Yeah.
But they managed not to make it any better, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. And because of gerrymandering, our legislature is 90% Mormon and unabashedly takes their marching orders from church leadership in nakedly unconstitutional ways. You can
Yeah,
hear
it's like open.
it's open. You can hear
It is more
legislators say
naked than I think it's ever been
Yeah.
in my lifetime here.
on the floor of the House or the Senate or in committees, you can hear legislators say, "Oh, you know what? I've got to check with the church on that."
Yeah.
I've heard them say it.
Nobody knew
Yeah.
that covered wagons had a reverse gear. But boy, howdy, did they jam it in and stomp on the
That's right.
horse.
So since
The ox.
Since the state of Utah takes its direction from its ecclesiastical leaders, has it ever seemed to you, dear uncles, like the Mormon Church is just a wee bit behind the times in terms of our current social climate
What?
in this country?
I mean,
Blasphemy.
know.
I'm pretty sure that they just caught up to Leave It to Beaver. So
Oh my God, that
We're
would be
in,
that would be a leap. Does it seem like the LDS Church's stances on LGBTQ issues, racial issues, gender roles, etc., seem to be stuck in the 19th century?
I mean, I'll go with yes. I'll
There's-
see where this is going.
There's a very specific structural reason for this, and it's the reason why this religion will never catch up to modern times. Those of you holding out hope that the church will modify its stances and join the rest of us in the 21st century are wasting your time.
I would be happy with the early 20th century.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And if any of you have family or friends that still practice Mormonism and are constantly making noises that things are changing, I'm looking at you, Mormons building bridges. Please have them listen to this segment. So
Yeah, I would be happy if they caught up to the mores of the Coolidge administration.
that's right.
Yes,
And for reasons we'll talk about, they will not.
Yeah.
So in order to explain how the church has painted itself into such a corner, we need to shed some light on the upper echelons of the Mormon church. Now, I want to be clear from the outset of this discussion that I am not being ageist. There is nothing wrong with working into your 80s and 90s, and I in no way mean to say that someone in their 80s or 90s can't run an organization.
Yeah, we'll likely be shitting on religions well into our 90s.
That's right.
think.
Well, by that time, our podcast will have taken effect, and they'll all be gone.
We'll have won the war.
It's an insane paradise of reason and key parties.
But as we'll discuss, the homogenized age, gender, race, and background of the Mormon church leadership is a problem.
I just want to see the key parties that happen over at the Eagle Gate Apartments.
They don't lock their doors. They're too trusting.
You can take Mildred for 2 hours.
They don't lock their doors because they need the paramedics to be able to get in quickly.
We call it 7 minutes in Kolob.
Oh, my God. All right, so
We got off track. Sorry.
we did.
Doug.
The Mormon church is
You were
led-
going somewhere with that.
I was.
The way they use that Jell-O is astounding.
Jello can be quite a lubricant. All right. The Mormon church is led by a body of 15 men, and up until 2018, only white men. The first presidency, which consists of the president and his 2 counselors, along with the quorum of the 12 apostles. There are several other groups that preside over church operations, such as the quorums of the 70s, which don't have 70 members, so what the fuck?
Who cares?
How many members do they have?
It varies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with 70. It's fuck off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a good round number.
These leaders of the church are collectively referred to as general authorities. Now,
Generally.
let's go back to the first succession of one president to the next. In 1844, Joseph Smith, the first prophet and founder of the church, was assassinated in Carthage, Illinois.
Got his ass shot.
That's right. A subject for another time.
The gun violence in Chicago, its early roots.
White on white violence. It was an eventuality that the self-proclaimed prophet, seer, and revelator failed to see coming. After his death, having not named a successor, the nascent church fell into what is called the succession crisis. Many thought that Hiram, Joseph's brother, was the heir apparent, but while it's never a good idea to entrust one's older brother with power, the point was moot because Hiram died with Joseph. So, the next candidate would have been Joseph's brother Samuel, but he mysteriously died only weeks after Joseph's death.
Right.
There is no evidence that this was foul play, but it wouldn't be surprising.
There's no evidence that it ain't.
That's right.
That's right. It would be irresponsible not to speculate.
That's right. Exactly. There was another brother, William, who would seem to have had a claim and even tried to make a play, but he was apparently the Eric Trump of the Smith family, and no one took his claim seriously.
Wait, what about me? Yeah, kid, that's great.
Nah.
You're cute.
Although many people vied for the title, the main schism rested on whether Mormonism was to be a lineal succession church or not. Joseph's oldest son was only 11, and although many chose to follow him or stay in the Midwest, including Emma Smith, the vast majority of the church decided to follow Brigham Young, who, while making his case to an assembled crowd, is said to have taken on the voice and countenance of Joseph Smith.
Right.
Which
Bullshit.
was just an excuse.
Yeah.
He was just he made the power play and it worked.
That's right.
Are you going to talk about how that was based on one woman's account?
Much later, exactly.
Right,
It was
right.
total bullshit. It was backfilled story.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was enough for the main body of credulous God-botherers to follow him, or at least it was a reason to. Polygamy was also an issue, as those practicing polygamy, or at least accepting of it, followed Brigham, while those who rejected it stayed back in the Midwest.
By the way, P.S. This group that splintered off to follow Joseph's son
Yeah.
and Emma
Yeah.
became the reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is now called the Community of Christ. They still do not acknowledge that Joseph was ever polygamous.
That's right.
They're a bunch,
really?
Yeah.
They that's their thing.
I
He
thought
was-
they were a little more straight up about all this shit.
No,
all a
they're
filthy
more
lie.
straight. They're actually like super badass about a lot of stuff. They
Yeah.
ordained women
I think they
to
have
the
a woman,
priesthood.
prophet.
I'm not sure
I think
about
so.
that.
I think they do.
They had
But
to though because it was a heritage religion, and they were one prophet only had daughters, so they
okay.
had to make a change.
So I mean, but they also
It's like Henry VIII.
They do
Fuck
gay-
it, I guess she's queen.
they've been doing gay marriages for a while now.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty early on. They
but
were
odd that they would deny the polygamy, which is
Right.
historically factual. I mean, there's
no way to deny it. It's impossible to know what would have happened if one of the other claimants, such as Sidney Rigdon, Oliver Cowdery, or James Strang, had won the battle. But American history would certainly be very different, and the three of us wouldn't be sitting here today.
They all won their own battles. They all had splinter sects.
They all got
that
a
went
Pontiac.
on.
But most of them fizzled out. Pretty.
But how much cooler is it to say you're a Strangite?
than
Cooler.
a Brighamite.
So after that schismatic mess, the church instituted a more orderly process of succession. So now, when a Mormon prophet dies, the new prophet is selected with all the pomp and circumstance of a quarterly corporate board meeting.
Right.
The first presidency is dissolved, and the two counselors revert back to their former ranks, and then the longest-serving apostle is automatically the new prophet.
Ta-da!
As God intended.
Exactly. Although there is a sustaining vote that must be unanimous, it's a mere formality.
Yeah.
So now the new prophet then
And
selects
then the
his
white
counselors.
smoke comes out
Yes,
of
exactly.
the trumpet of Moroni.
Instead of white smoke issuing from the chimney of the Vatican, Mormons receive a memo reminder to update their action items.
Right.
Yeah, the white smoke comes out of hires
Right.
on 7th East.
It's a burger joint. Yes.
Yeah.
So Mormons brag about this system because they think it's done in such an orderly and predetermined way. There is no jockeying for power or electioneering like those filthy Catholics.
Right.
So seniority is all important.
But you could trip the old guy if you needed to.
That's right. Seniority is all important. Your proximity to the crown is determined entirely by the date you became an apostle. Now, this sets up a couple potential future crises because apostles Uchtdorf and Bednar, apostles Rasband, Stevenson, and Runland, and apostles Gong and Soers were promoted at the same general conferences in 2004, 15, and 18, respectively. So assuming none of them die when their number comes up, there could be more than one apostle eligible for the big chair.
Fight.
If there is a process for this eventuality, I couldn't find it, and I couldn't even find if this has ever happened before. So if the church is looking for ideas for how to deal with this potential second succession crisis, I have a couple recommendations.
Thunderdome.
Number one, do the wrong thing, where the two potentials are forced, Clockwork Orange style, to watch Black Klansman. The first one to lose control and blurt out the N-word loses. Number two.
Or does he win?
Or does he win?
Yeah.
That's called race chicken,
Number two.
Which is also racist.
which is also racist.
Number two, jazzy jousting. This one kind of explains itself. And number three,
Unless you don't know that a jazzy is a little mobility scooter.
Yes.
who doesn't know that?
I was imagining music playing.
Number three, the D is silent, where each potential may choose a Lamanite to fight to the death for them on the BYU quad while they watch from atop a pile of human skulls. All right. So here's the thing.
Okay.
And it's what we've been building up to. Yeah. While orderly and free of drama, this system of succession has, and always will, doom the church to be perpetually 100 years in the past. And will prevent it from ever modernizing its positions. Here's why. Although Joseph Smith died at 38, every subsequent prophet has died in at least their 70s. In fact, the 16 successors to Joseph Smith, 3 died in their 70s, 5 in their 80s, and 7 in their 90s.
Oh my God.
With the current president, Russell M. Nelson, clocking in at 94.
Yeah, he assumed the position at 93.
Yeah.
And the guy that he took over from, Tommy Monson, was also in his 90s.
That's right.
And was just being preserved in formaldehyde.
Oh, my God, it was fun to watch.
he was
And we'll definitely...
His brain switched off 10 years prior.
Medical science is not helping the situation.
Right.
Famously, Howard W.
Thanks,
Hunter...
science.
Prophet Howard W. Hunter spent the majority of his 9-month tenure unconscious on life support.
right.
Our sister-in-law actually was one of his nurses.
Yeah.
And apparently read my missionary letters to him while he was comatose. So I may have contributed to his short reign.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So wait, was he already comatose when she started the letters? Or
I've read your writing. I almost went
there's
comatose
a causation
too.
correlation thing.
It is technically a weapon. So, in fact, of all the 17 men to hold this office, this is fucking crazy. Only 4 of them were born in the 20th century.
Wow.
All the rest were born in the 1800s. And of those born in the 1900s, the most recent was in 1927. Oh my God. This leads to some interesting facts, such as only 2 church presidents were born since women got the vote, and they're also the only 2 born after World War I, but still before the Dust Bowl.
Oh my
7 were born before the Civil War. All but 5 were born before the church officially outlawed polygamy, and all of them were born into a church that didn't allow blacks to hold the priesthood. In fact,
Right, of course.
most of them died in a church that didn't allow blacks to hold the priesthood.
My God. Meaning that there have been conversations like, wait, can we send missionaries to the Ottoman Empire?
That's literally true. All right. So practically what this means is that the entire leadership of the church is, and always will be, very old. These are people born into a far more racist, misogynist, homophobic, and conservative congregation than the current church membership, and many of them spend decades as apostles. So they're essentially sequestered from the progress happening out there in the world.
Yeah, they spend decades of their lives. They start
Completely sequestered.
and they have no access to real humanity.
They don't talk to people with different experiences or of different races
non-Mormons.
or non-Mormons.
No.
Until they get their big shot at their shot at the big chair well into their 80s and 90s.
It is a crazy echo chamber. That
They
these
were
people
born
live
into
in.
Mormonism,
Yep.
which at any time during its existence has been more conservative
Than it is now.
and more regressive
Right.
than the society at large.
And remember,
Oh, yeah,
right,
always.
before becoming an apostle, one has to have spent decades in various church leadership roles, from elder to bishop to stake president to area president to 70, etc. So, no dynamic, reform-minded leader is ever going to get through this process.
No, they used to.
Yeah.
There was a wild, wild west sort of time when a leader could be brought in as an apostle, and could be quite a maverick. But they've weeded that out
is
entirely.
There is never going to be a Mormon Beto or a Mormon AOC.
No.
Nope, it can't happen. It cannot happen.
I mean, there are Mormons who are very liberal.
Yes.
But they're never going to be chosen
No.
to be one of these leaders.
Or
And the thing
work
is-
their way up to that level.
They'll be weeded out way before they get
And the fact is that
power.
the fact is that most of these guys are fucking bankers
That's
or
right.
businessmen or like they
Or they've been professional Mormons almost their entire lives. Yeah.
So while the Vatican might get a wild card reformer that can institute modernizing changes a la Vatican II, this cannot happen in the Mormon Church.
Correct.
It is so self-selecting that anyone with any notions of reform couldn't get within 1,000 miles of leadership. So let's take a look at the current body.
Well, I will push back on that a little bit because the current fella is reforming away.
Well-
he's just making matters worse.
Yes, but let's be clear.
reforming backwards.
He just ruined 20 years of search engine
That's right.
optimization
Yeah,
on purpose.
with the stroke of a pen.
Let's remember that teens aren't killing themselves at an alarming rate in Utah because we're calling the church Mormon or not Mormon, or because a church is 2 hours or 3 hours.
Right.
These are on the margin changes that don't really fucking matter.
No, they don't fucking
So
matter. One bit.
Yeah. So it's not just age that is preventing this religion from. Let's back up a second. Let's take a look at the current body of the First Presidency and the 12 Apostles.
I don't want to see
not
him naked.
literally.
Their bodies
I
are
don't want to see him
scary.
naked.
It's like that portrait of Mr. Burns.
That's exactly what I wanted. I thought about that. So the next 5 apostles that would replace the 94-year-old current prophet are, in order, 86, 90, 78, 85, and 78 years old. So,
Those 78 spring chickens.
positively youthful.
You were born when Charleston was sweeping the nation.
It's not just age that is preventing this religion from modernization. For a church that spends a lot of time bragging about its global reach, nearly every one of the apostles and the First Presidency were born within a 90-minute drive of where we're sitting right now.
yeah.
The notable, I guess the only exceptions are Henry B. Eyring, who was born in Princeton, New Jersey.
Wow.
Dieter F. Uchtdorf, who was born in Marsic, Austria, Germany.
And love
he's
that guy.
he's the bad boy of the boy band of the apostles.
Right.
But I like how you said Austro-Germany because it was not Germany. That's right. It was the Habsburg Empire. Right?
And lastly, Ulysses Soares, who was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, wow.
We'll talk about him in a sec.
That dude will never be the prophet.
Oh, God, no.
Never.
All the rest were born in Utah with a couple in California. So it's a very regionally specific leadership of a global church.
Right.
Yeah.
In the last general conference, the 2 newest members and obvious diversity hires were the aforementioned Ulysses Soares and Garrett W. Gong, who hails all the way from Redwood City, California.
Right, but he has that name.
How
He
exotic.
these are the first 2 non-white apostles in the nearly 200-year history of the Mormon Church. Soares, by the way,
Don't they have some other Latinos?
not in the 12 apostles.
They did in the
not in the
70s.
core. Okay.
They did in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, down in the garbage
Down in
dump.
exactly.
That is the quorum of the 70s.
Service door of Mormon leadership.
Soares, by the way, is the youngest apostle at a youthful 60. So all he's got to do to inject that youth directly into the bloodstream of the presidency is wait until 14 other people meet their medically postponed fate.
Right.
So it's hard to imagine an organization run almost entirely by very old white men from the same rural area code getting woke with regard to transgender issues, or that a group of people who were forced through gritted teeth to admit that black people weren't cursed by God are going to empathize with Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And before any defenders of the faith try to convince me that the church can change and point to the 1890 abolition of polygamy or the 1978 acceptance of black people as fully human, firstly, you have set a mighty low bar. And secondly, the church made these changes not because of modernizing forces within or moral awakenings, but because of existential external crises.
Yeah.
The threat of federal invasion in the first case and the possible loss of tax-exempt status in the second. So, and not for nothing, but in both instances, people left the church in droves because of those changes.
Yep.
Right.
So sure, if the church faces another external existential crisis in the future, they may have to make some changes. But letters to the editor or the earnest bearing of one's testimony is not going to do the trick.
No.
If people want the Mormon church to change, they need to change it from the outside. If you are going to influence it from within, I'm sorry, but you are playing on their field and they own the refs.
Yeah.
You are trying to modify a church that is incapable of modification. You're trying to modernize a church that is incapable of modernization. You are trying to fly a steam locomotive to the moon. The difference between trying to modernize the Mormon church from within and polishing the brass on the Titanic is that at least the brass got polished. So, lastly, and I just say, if their tax-exempt status is threatened, if BYU can't play in any bowl games, or if there is a big enough mass exodus to cut off their tithing revenue and make national news, you may see the church make some changes. But short of that, I am on firm ground to say that the Mormon church will continue to be the proud cause of teen suicide for the foreseeable future.
Yep.
That is the way it is designed.
They are hemorrhaging members.
They are.
And that hemorrhage will the dam that's holding back even the people that are staying is threatening to
That's
burst. Right. So
Yeah.
I think
I heard that they're retaining less than 50% of their young people at this point.
Yeah. So they're going to have to do something.
Yep.
But are they convinced of that is the only question.
Absolutely not.
And boy, the only advice that they take is from them.
That's right.
And within an echo chamber, when everybody congratulates each other on how shitty they can be,
The echoiest of echo chambers.
it's
Until that time, let's have some Schadenfreude watching 95-year-old bigots struggle with the remote control of modernity.
right.
And until then, let us move on.
Doing it.
Well, Uncle Doug,
Yo.
sometimes when, as you know, I enjoy reading the Bible quite a bit.
Yeah?
It is, the good book and the only book. But
Such a good book.
But
I
then
don't know if you
think-
guys know.
is there a much, much longer book with more dizzying tales?
I'll bet there is.
Yeah? Dan,
Yeah,
you know anything about that?
Okay, fellas. I guess it was inevitable. A stopped clock is right twice a day, and every now and then a religion is bound to get one right too. So we're going to get to a story that is actually something that I like.
Praising religion isn't really the corner we work here.
Don't worry too much,
Okay.
because while they were totally on the right track on this one, they managed to fuck it up in the end.
They didn't stick the landing.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
It'll all turn out bad in the end. Which
All
is,
right.
which is how we roll.
Religion. It'll all turn out bad in the end.
Indeed,
I'll allow it.
It should be their thing. Well, I should say somebody managed to fuck it up, because this is in part, at least, a story of one religion influencing another, and as is so often the case with us super advanced monkeys, when two conflicting sets of beliefs meet, the wrongest one often prevails.
I was going to say it always ends in moida.
Right. Yeah. But before we get to that, we will get to this book that we're talking about. Let me take you back in time to sometime around the 4th century CE in India.
Good times.
Which is about the time that we get the present form of the longest epic poem known to humanity, the Mahabharata. Why epic poetry? Apparently cataloging the probably fictitious rises and falls of Hinduism between 400 BCE and 200 CE is too boring to just stick to prose. Why not make that shit a challenge?
Yeah.
So if you think the Bible is an impenetrable mess of a read, just be super glad that most of it isn't written in verse.
That's right. It doesn't rhyme.
Yeah. The Mahabharata, as you mentioned, Uncle Mark, is huge.
Right.
And I
the
say
Bhagavad
that,
Gita is just a sliver of it, right?
Yeah. So this Bhagavad Gita that I'm holding right now, which is, I mean, it's got some commentary in it, but I mean, it's a heavy tome.
It's a handsome
of a
hardback.
thing.
Yeah.
That's book 6 of
my God.
18.
Oh my God.
The Mahabharata is almost 100,000 couplets.
Oh my God.
To be exact, which is about 7 times longer than the Iliad and the Odyssey put together.
Ugh.
So
my God.
suck on that, Homer. So yeah, there you go.
It's dense. It's dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I swindled this Bhagavad Gita off of a nice Hindu lady in London, so that's kind of fun.
They used to just hand them out at the airport.
Well, they were gonna.
Yeah.
She tried to pull a bait and switch on me. She said, "Do you want this for free?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "Make a donation." And I was like,
That's not free.
"That's not what we're doing." And B, how much do you want? And she was like, £15. And I gave her 2. So I figure we're at a.
Yeah.
So she got. I think they came out bad on the deal. But
Well, early Hinduism probably was a barter economy.
yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. Well, I've been to India. You want to barter. You got to haggle.
Because what a white person needs in India is a good deal.
Right. Well, I'm not going to get ripped off.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Anyhow, this astounding text is foundational to the Hindu religion. It's considered a guide for how good Hindus are to live and to conduct themselves, and because all humans are basically the same and all religions are all just tools for small groups of humans to manipulate and control much larger groups of humans, the Mahabharata can be used to teach pretty much any message a sadhu or guru feels like spewing.
So it's unlike the other great texts of the world. that way.
Yeah, completely unlike. Yeah,
Right.
It's unique in that respect.
Right.
No, just like the Bible or the Quran, the Mahabharata has stories that are convenient to talk about and stories that are far more convenient to skip. So the prejudiced du jour can stand without annoyance of too much questioning getting in the way. And it's easy enough when telling the hand-picked stories to manipulate the details into an interpretation that serves your desired narrative. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Today's reading is the story of the warrior who brought down an invincible tyrant. That warrior is Shikandi.
Shikandi.
That's right.
Shikandi forever.
I'm Team Shikandi.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And you'll stick with that later on as we get through this. But we got to start the story with a young woman named Amba. Amba was the daughter of the king of Kashi. Kashi was a kingdom in India, the capital of which was Varanasi, which is actually, incidentally, very close to Sarnath, where the Buddha started preaching. But now I'm crossing the streams. So, anywho.
Yeah, this is some Marvel DC shit. So let's just
we'll just
stick with the Marvel here.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, Amba and her sisters Ambika and Ambalika. Apparently, Mormons aren't the only ones who annoyingly name their kids this
I was
way.
about to say, was Joseph Smith a Hindu?
Right, exactly. Were kidnapped by the powerful Bhishma as punishment to Kashi for being flavorless and having the worst texture of all the breakfast cereals.
I didn't make that joke, thank you. 'Cause I thought it was in poor taste.
Yes, indeed. And it does taste bad.
Yes, it is cardboard in a box.
Anyway, Bhishma decided to marry the girls off to a buddy of his, but Amba protested, saying that she was already totes in love with some other dude. Bhishma, not wanting to be the dickish kind of kidnapper, was like, oh, okay, cool, off you go then, and sent her to marry her true love, Salwa.
A simpler time where you could hope for a better class of kidnappers.
Right? Don't we all wish for that? Unfortunately, nobody consulted with Salwa, who was not on board. He had just lost a big battle with Bhishma and was still being a little titty baby about it, and he rejected her proposal. Oopsie-doo. So Amba went back to Bhishma, and because the most important thing a woman can be in the whole universe is married, she demanded that Bhishma marry her, which feels like a pretty bold move from a kidnapped victim. But even that powerful...
Or what we traditionally call a woman
Yes, indeed.
in the religious sphere.
Right. But even her powerful Stockholm Syndrome failed her because...
Because Stockholm wasn't invented yet.
Right, correct.
Yes.
Ding. No, because what she didn't know was that Bhishma had taken a vow of celibacy. So, no dice.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, so Amba she vowed to kill Bhishma,
Whoa.
which is no small feat considering that he was A, possibly the greatest warrior of the time, and B, also had some magic protection making him incapable of dying until he chose to. So, that's a pretty nifty trick.
Yeah.
It's a
for
nice
a warrior.
superpower. Yeah.
At this point, you'd think that Amba would take the route so many women in holy texts would take, and somehow summon her womanly wiles to trick him into doing something boneheaded that would get him killed. For more on this tactic, please refer to the Samson story in episode 21.
The totally sensible Samson story.
Right. They are all totally sensible, Mark.
So she loomed his hair into a big placemat.
Into it. She weaved him.
She tied
into
two octopuses together.
and released, set them on fire. Anyway, that's not how Amba...
And then she went about trying to kill him.
Right, yes. Yeah, well, that part was just for fun.
Yeah.
That's not how Amba operated. She wanted to defeat him in battle, like the raging badass that she was.
Oh.
But
So
she couldn't.
she ran at his strengths rather than from them.
Right, exactly. Unfortunately, she was a woman, and women weren't allowed to fight in combat. So then she went to other kings around. Apparently super easy to get an audience with a king back then, I guess.
Yeah.
And asked them to champion her cause and kill Bhishma, but, dude can't be killed, so they all said no.
Oh, smart of him.
Yeah. Dejected, she resorted to penance, whatever that means, and got a garland of blue lotuses from Lord Subramanya. Nailed it. Who was the son of Shiva and Parvati, just so you know.
So he's a dude.
Pretty good parents to have.
Yeah.
And he was also sort of the commander-in-chief of the gods, military leader of the gods.
In addition to being a florist.
Right, yes, indeed. He had hobbies. Pretty neat.
I like that he had a softer side.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
He was a pretty good guy to get a garland from because it was prophesied that that whoever wore that garland would defeat Bhishma. So pretty neat stuff.
Yeah.
So she starts shopping the garland around, like, who's going to champion me now? I've got the garland that says you're going to defeat Bhishma, but they were all still too afraid, and nobody would still attempt it. So she was defeated and trapped in a sexist world. So she did what any good feminist would do, which was...
She put the garland on.
She drowned a baby.
That's right. She hung the garland on some king's gate and killed herself.
Oh. Okay.
But this was not some...
That took a turn.
Yes, indeed. But far from being a defeatist act of petulance, this was the Hindu world. She was running down the clock. Amba was using reincarnation to her advantage.
Oh.
She was reborn, but after growing up as her new self, she realized that the world hadn't changed enough, so she did it again. And again. And again. She kept killing herself until finally she was reborn as Shikandini, the Disney princess daughter of Drupada, the king of Panchala.
So she was still a female.
Still a female.
Okay.
And still human.
Now, did I make all of those names up? Maybe. How would you know? Yes, still a human and definitely still a woman.
So there's no downgrade in Hinduism for suicide?
Not in this story. No downgrade nor upgrade. No, you just lateral move the whole time.
I like how this is kind of a riff on Groundhog Day.
Right.
Instead of living the same day over and over, she just keeps trying to project herself through time.
Indeed. Anyway, at some point, Shikandini asked her dad if it was okay for a woman to go into battle yet. And no, it wasn't. So, in her anger and disappointment, she went for a walk and saw a lotus garland hanging on her father's gate. So, feeling festive, wanting to be a little pretty, I guess, she just chucked it on. And seeing it, and knowing what it meant, her father flipped out and banished her so as to avoid having Bhishma storm in and kill Buddy's ass. So, Shikandini wandered out into the woods where she met a magic dude called a yaksha, which is like a fairy or a wood nymph or something.
All right.
And they were chatting and, just shooting the shit, whatever. And he decided, you know what? You want to be a guy so you can beat this Bhishma dude. And I'm soups curious about what it would be like to be a chick. Want to switch junk?
Whoa.
That was a very early, era for this procedure.
Yes, indeed. Bada bing, bada boom. Shikandini becomes Shikandi, the first post-op trans man in history.
Whoa.
And not only that, transplant trans.
Yeah.
man, right?
Yeah. So
So it wasn't modifying their own situation. It
No.
was swap. Wow, this is
Yeah.
something. This is very progressive.
very progressive.
Yes.
So, newly packin', Shikandi joins the army that's been fighting Bhishma. Now, this army's at their wits' end because, you can't kill the guy, and he's got the best army in the world.
You just need a very feminine trans man with a blue flower necklace.
Right?
Yes.
That's what they were waiting for. Oh, and also, there's a thing about as long as Bhishma's bow is raised, he's the deadliest guy in the world.
Ah.
He will arrow you to death quite quickly.
Toot sweet.
So he's more dangerous when he's shooting arrows than when he's not.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
I think you've got a handle on it. Well done.
These weird old stories.
I know, they don't make any sense. But Krishna was fighting with them, and he had a plan. He put Shikandi and Arjuna, his best archer, on his chariot and sent them at Bhishma. When Bhishma saw them, he somehow knew that Shikandi used to be Amba. I don't know how, but he knew it. And he got furious that they would send a woman out to fight him. So, like an idiot, he lowered his bow because he would never raise his bow at a woman, even though this was a trans man. This is the first instance of, I think maybe they also, this attack occurred in a public restroom, and he was just
Right.
just beside himself.
I can't believe that our president didn't have this story in mind
Right?
when he instituted his ban on trans people in the military. Because clearly,
It is a good thing to
Yeah.
have some trans folks
because obviously he's read
Like it says in the Bhagavad
Mahabharata.
Gita.
right,
for sure.
the Mahabharata, right. Like an idiot, he lowers his bow so as not to shoot the lady, and blam! Arjuna and their whole army pelted him with a barrage of arrows.
Just pin-cushioned his ass.
So many arrows, in fact, that his body was completely immobilized and stuck into the ground.
Oh.
So basically, he was sort of suspended amid these arrows and just stuck in the ground.
Wounded.
Yeah. Complete, like pretty much there's not a square inch of him that's not arrowed.
More arrow than man.
Yes, indeed. So the battles raged on with Bhishma's army for a few days after that, but eventually Pincushion Bhishma decided that being permanently arrowed to the ground was a lame
So,
eternity.
He survived.
Oh, well, he hadn't chosen to die yet.
Oh, I see. That's right.
So now he decided to die.
Yeah.
And that's basically the end of this, of that part of this story. Depending on which version you read, Shikandi died on the last day of the fighting, but maybe didn't. It's hard to tell.
But he now, Shikandi he set out to do what he meant to do.
Yeah, and did
was
it.
to kill this motherfucker.
And in the process became the first trans action hero
Of many.
of many.
Of many,
Yeah.
sure. So what percentage of the Bhagavad Gita have we covered now?
0.
Yeah, so this is the first of our 32,000 part series
Which will cover the first half of the Mahabharata.
where Dan doesn't actually read it, he just kind of does an interpretive dance for
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Exactly. The reason that I became interested in this story, and I wanted to get to this quickly, is because of a story that I covered on Thank God I'm Atheist. People can go back. It's a couple of episodes back. Wherein a recent occurrence has happened, which is that a trans woman named Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, who was a former reality TV star, she was on their version of Big Brother, I think,
Okay.
has started a trans akhara, which is a within Hinduism, there are these akaras are sort of sects of monks of
Kind of like a Catholic
ascetics
order.
or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And technically, the other akaras are not quick to accept this, but she has started this thing. She's from the Brahmin caste,
Yeah.
and so she feels like she can just do whatever
She's
the
like
fuck she wants.
Which the caste system, which was technically illegal.
Right, yeah, exactly.
She's the tippity top,
Which
right?
they totally do not do ever anymore, except everybody.
Yeah.
But so she started this trans caste. Now in India, since 2014, they have recognized what they call hijras as officially a third gender.
Right.
I don't know if that's cool or not. It's a really interesting thing. At least there's some legal protection for trans people.
Most of the anti-LGBT sentiments in India came with the British.
Well, and that's the thing, and that was what I was referring to earlier in the segment, which is that when the British people came over, they were the ones who like poisoned, because hijras used to be an honored thing. They actually were considered to have sort of some magic about them,
right?
And they would bless weddings, and they still do. It's weird. They are shunned and reviled, but you want one to bless your wedding, you want one to bless your this and that,
then get the fuck out,
and then go away, you filthy. And they've and to be honest, they've been sort of relegated to sex work,
right?
And they were hit incredibly hard by the AIDS epidemic in the 90s. So this Lakshmi Tripathi has been working diligently as an activist, and I love that she has created a trans group of monks, and people are going to them for blessings, and you know, she has some celebrity status, and I think like really interesting shit's happening.
Using it for good, right?
Yeah. And using the story of Shikandi, reminding people that like this is part of our heritage, part of our
religious
Hindu
belief,
religious heritage.
Are we coming up on a happy ending? Is this like actually a good story?
This is what I was saying.
Wow.
Like you know, I kind of like this one.
Well, I don't know that it's a happy ending, because I think for the first time ever we've discussed a downside to colonialism, and I don't feel comfortable with it.
Exactly. How is that working? How is that supposed to work?
It's not worth all the tea in China.
All the tea in Boston.
That was an incredibly confusing story, but with a very positive end, and I, for one, am for it.
Yes.
I second the motion.
All right. The motion passes, and we'll move on.
Moving on.
Uncles.
Hello,
friends. Here we are. Let's just get some business took care of here.
Yeah,
Get it done.
let's blow through this.
Which is to say that we have some people who like the show and show that they like the show by reaching into the old pocketbook,
giving us some of their filthy lucre,
throwing a coin into the hat,
devil money.
So we have some folks to thank. I want to thank. Don't want to use real name, but not creative. Thank you so much. We'll just call you not creative.
Aw.
Okay, we could call you don't. Anyway, and thanks to Ryan. And whose turn is it? I think
What are we doing, Saint?
I think it's my turn.
All right.
To give Lena a saint.
All right, Lena.
So Lena, because your generous donation comes in at the level where you have earned this reward,
Yes.
you are protected and watched over by Saint Claudia
Yeah.
of Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Saint Claudia is the patron saint of Pokemon and Hello Kitty.
Right. A little on the nose, but that's fine.
And also the patron saint of crosswalks that go in all directions.
Yeah.
So
They
know,
look
that's-
awesome when sped up.
You don't realize how important a saint that is till you need her.
right, yes, indeed. So congratulations to you, Lena, and thank you all for your kind patronship. And fellas,
Yo.
we need to encourage more people to who like our show to show us to show their love.
Please, people.
So how are we going to do it?
I don't know. I mean, we're going to beg.
Begging. That's the
We're
thing.
going to continue to make asses of
Whose
ourselves.
turn is it to beg? I think, Doug, is it on you this time? Or
Sure.
say please.
Give us your money, please.
Please, just a couple bucks, get your early release of the show.
That's right.
You get to be a big smarty pants before people do on Wednesday down in steerage.
Yeah.
So do what you can. Throw some money in the kitty. If you can't, the universe is full of stars. Why not snatch a couple of them out of the sky and throw them into iTunes or Stitcher,
Specifically
wherever
5.
you can. Yes,
5 of them.
5 at a time.
5 or above.
You got 4 fingers and a thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Just go with your digits.
All right.
Go to howtoheretic.com, and then you can click on the Patreon button, and that'll get you to our Patreon. And that will and then you will be blessed for your giving.
That's right.
We have some upcoming expenses and the glory of them are going to be passed on to you, the listener.
Which is what we try to do.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
We're not hoarding this gold.
hook us the fuck up. That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's move on. Hey, Doug.
Yo.
You remember last week or the week before, one of these weeks where we were recording,
Nope.
and Mark was just talking nonstop about, I don't know, bunch of bullshit.
I'm like a goldfish. I only remember the moment before and after this moment.
In that he swims in his own poo.
That's right. Well, okay, Uncle Mark, I remember it a little bit.
Thank you.
You,
I put a lot of work into that.
You went to hell, is what you did.
I took us to hell and realized, it's not actually a place.
There's no there.
Surprise!
The closest thing is a garbage dump outside of Jerusalem that now on Google Earth looks like a very pleasant valley with a municipal road through it. So,
it's not. I would just have imagined a nice suburban subdivision.
They paved over hell.
yeah, it's not a settler area yet. So far it looks like somebody's lawn. So, Gehenna, go check it out. So, last week we kind of talked about the hell of the Bible, or rather that hell is not really in the Bible. If you haven't heard it, go back and check last week out before you listen to this
It's
segment.
very upsetting.
But to summarize,
All the things that you thought you knew.
all the things you thought you knew are bullshit. It's kind of the Santa Claus of the Bible. All the things in the Bible are the Santa Claus of the Bible.
Wait, what?
To summarize,
Oh, no.
oh boy, I've really stepped in it this time. The much later insertion of hell into the Bible to clean up the messes that the 4 words that most people think are shorthand or folk names for hell is dumb, obviously not canon, and it's sloppy work to boot. Then we track the 5th century invention of the, quote, modern concept of hell and how it was fine-tuned and beta-tested for maximum terrorism over the centuries. So, for these and so many other reasons, should you believe in or be afraid of hell? The short answer is no. Also, the only answer is no.
The long answer, also no.
Is hell no.
So we could end it. We could end it there.
hell.
We could end it there. So this is going to turn into a little bit of a how to think about and contend with the idea of hell if it was something that was rammed into you without consent. So
Which all of religion was.
typically, yes. So I asked the good people of the internet to share their experiences with the fairy tale of hell, either in the past or the present, and I'm grateful for all the feedback. I'm sorry, there's no way we can possibly get to all of them. So here are some Uncle
Mark, I
excerpts.
feel like you made some promises. You got to get to all of it.
All right, strap in, pack a lunch. So here are some excerpts from the avalanche of stories that flooded in, and there was a ton. So this is all very pleasant. From listener Mikey, fear of hell was the only thing that kept me in religion. I've never had any sort of spiritual feelings from religion and rejected the ideals that my church preached. I was getting nothing from religion except an intense fear that I was defective and God was going to punish me in this life and send me to hell for not believing enough.
Yeah.
I constantly heard from others about how they, quote, love Jesus, but to me, that sentiment was baffling. You don't love Jesus, you fear him, and I did.
Wow.
And this was, maybe I'll include it in the show notes. Mikey went to a church with a lunatic who did chalk drawings of hell while he preached.
Well, you know what? You got to get a gimmick, and I approve. I feel like this is a That's a good gimmick.
It was a good gimmick. It's the guy it was a multitasking lunatic. So
Yeah,
Was there like
we all watched a video of this guy, and yeah, one of you said he was the Bob Ross of.
he said,
Demonic Bob Ross.
Yeah,
the Bob Ross of hell.
Is somebody playing like a standing bass while he does this, like beat poetry?
Nope. He's just an old-timey rhythmic preacher. So, from listener Kim, the fear of hell is what really motivated me to dive deep into Christianity and to indoctrinate my 7 kids.
Holy cow.
Nothing frightened me more than the thought of them being tortured for eternity. Well, yeah.
of course.
So I did everything in my power to fill their minds with nothing but religion. I homeschooled them, and our only activities were church. It's all we did, all we talked about. For a long time, my fear of hell and condemning my kids to hell pushed me into this super repressive cult. I had no autonomy. My body and life were not my own. I was a slave. She adds a little note. I didn't want 7 kids, but the only consent that mattered was, quote, God's consent.
Right.
Wow.
I still deal with that, the trauma of that little nugget. So,
Well, that's fucked up.
Yeah. In order to save your kids from hell, you created it for them.
yeah, and
Right.
Kim later in an email talked about how much guilt she's got wrapped up in that. And
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm sure we'll get to this in the conversation, but listen, you were under the influence of some pretty heavy duty bullshit.
Right.
So
Yes.
I think we can all kind of release ourselves from a lot of the responsibility. Not
well,
I mean, you just don't know better.
people like Kim and a lot of the other people that wrote in, yes, you were under the influence, but now you're not.
Yeah.
And you know that. So you're doing what you can. And she mentioned that most of her kids are out of it, but a couple of them are still struggling with it. So
Well, no one's listening to this podcast because they don't have baggage.
Right.
Have not been traumatized by religion.
so
I don't know, Doug. I kind of think we're fun. I think it's a funny show and we have a good time.
Just get together and cry.
we laugh about people's pain. What could be more fun than that? So listener Sarah wrote that in her Full Gospel Baptist Church, quote, not only was hell a very real place, we teenagers were actually the front line of defense in the spiritual war against Satan's armies. We were taught that it was our generation's responsibility to save the world from hedonism, and she says, i.e., people having basic human rights. As a young person, I developed significant anxiety about my friends, family, and humanity in general burning in the lake of fire for eternity, and if they did, it would be my fault. Our church imprisoned us with this idea that our prayers and seeking visions from God through fasting were the only thing keeping the world from ending in flames. Further,
Wow. Thank God they've been fasting then.
further, if a Democrat got elected or some other horrible tragedy, our leaders would blame us for it. Well, we didn't pray hard enough. I know. We didn't fast long enough. Our faith wasn't sincere, etc. So I spent several years as a teenager going through periods of starving myself or freaking people out with aggressive evangelism, believing if I didn't do these things, they wouldn't go to heaven.
Yeah?
Boy, election night 2008 must have been a terrible night for Sarah.
Oof, poor kid.
Yeah. Hopefully we can deliver an equally terrible night
Let us pray.
in 2020.
Jax from Twitter wrote, I was told explicitly about the fires of hell and how much it will hurt for my skin to burn for eternity.
Oh my God.
People are fucking insane. So, and it continues, as an atheist, for many years, I still have twinges of fear of hell, but then I remember I'm a critical thinker now.
Yeah.
But even so, he's still, every once in a while.
It makes sense. Like these are this is like when it's ingrained in you from birth.
Yeah.
You're not just going to get rid of it with a thought.
Right.
Like you're not, even though you have now brilliantly navigated those difficult waters of like, oh, maybe it's not real. Oh, wait, it isn't real. And you know on a sort of intellectual level for sure that there is no hell. That doesn't mean that the emotional shit just goes away.
Right, because hell was not implanted in your frontal lobe. Hell was not implanted in your higher brain. It was implanted in your fucking amygdala.
It's the same place that makes you scared of spiders and snakes. It's like
And it makes you afraid of being on fire.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's the place where you know to run away from a fire.
Yeah.
Well, and we are programmed to believe what our parents tell us. That is an evolutionary programming that happens to all animals, but specifically us with language.
Right.
You're supposed to believe what your parents tell you because your parents are supposed to tell you, don't go over there,
They're supposed to operate in good faith.
Right.
And we'll get to the discussion about hell and children.
Oh,
let me get through a couple more of these.
Fine, Uncle Mark.
It just makes it so much sweeter. Katrina from Twitter wrote, "The belief in hell, a literal place of eternal fire and torment, coupled with the indoctrination of the 'not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven' scripture, caused me to live with sometimes crippling anxiety about death and dying." Because death and dying aren't scary enough, right? So
Right.
Alan from Twitter wrote, "When I was stepping away from my faith, I recall vividly having nightmares about being in hell or otherwise being tormented by demons. For months on end, I could barely get any sleep because these nightmares wouldn't stop happening." And I'm going to finish with Ashley from Twitter here. Ashley wrote, "I went to a youth conference called Dare to Share, and 2 is the number 2.
Oh, good.
Because it's cool."
Yeah, they're hip and young with the youth and the people.
I bet the 2 was kind of turned a little bit on the poster.
I think they were inspired by 2 Live Crew for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
so.
the parallels are clear.
So Ashley said, "I went to a youth conference called Dare to Share, and one year they had a dramatization on stage called A Letter from Hell about a teenage guy writing a letter to his Christian friend about how he's suffering in hell and asking, 'Why didn't you tell me about Jesus?'" Ashley continues, "Unsurprisingly, tons of kids came to Christ after watching it because it was terrifying. As someone who is already saved, I had extreme anxiety and guilt about my friends and family members who didn't believe and what they would experience one day if I didn't convert them." And somebody on Twitter responded, "Who the fuck hasn't heard of Jesus?"
Right?
So that's just a taste of what we receive from the good people out there. Despite the differences, there is a common thread of this being a trauma first inflicted on very young children.
Yep.
So, dear uncles, and we kind of started touching on it, what in your opinion is the morality of teaching children that there is an eternal fire prison under the earth where fire will burn them forever for deviating from whatever it is you may happen to believe?
Well, I mean, obviously, as someone who has released himself from the bondage of religious thought,
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea just so that you can control the kids.
Right.
You do it anyway. But you get to make up your own scary story that you
Right.
So I can go up to a crying kid on a plane and be like, "Look, buddy, there's
exactly.
a lake of fire waiting for you if you don't shut the fuck up
You
right
will
now."
burn for eternity, child.
Well, it's funny. The elf on the shelf is a very, very mild version of this, right?
Yeah,
it's
right.
Oh my
it's just
God.
this controlling coercion. But think of it this way: if I went to if I went up to a parent and a kid in the park, right? Just a random stranger walks up to a 6-year-old and said, "Hey, see that tree over there? There's a troll that lives in that tree, and if you don't go to bed on time, he's going to rip your dick off and skin you alive,
Right.
and then eat you forever. Okay, see ya."
Right.
I mean, that guy's dad would follow me down and knock my teeth out.
You would be arrested,
Yep.
and
Right.
and rightfully so. Here's the thing: the first thing that I do want to get out is that, like we said, for one of those tweeters or writers in,
Yeah.
if you were a parent who put your kids through this, we get it. Like, you believed in a thing. You believed that their eternal souls
Unless
were
you're
in
an
hazard.
awful person, a cynical, awful person, you wouldn't have done it if you didn't believe it.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, it's not this. None of this is to make people feel guilty.
They already
for
do.
for what
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
done to their
exactly.
kids.
They feel plenty bad.
But that said, this is a horrible thing to say to
Right.
children. This is I mean, you are basically creating nightmares forever for your children,
Right.
and it is immoral. It is ugly.
It's inexcusable. And so this is not to shame people.
Yeah.
No.
The goal of this is to hopefully provide some prophylactic against this in the future. Like,
Yeah.
Well, think about the derangement that religion can cause in a parent's mind, that they will debate the morality of telling their kids there is a Santa Claus or a tooth fairy, but without hesitation, they will terrify and traumatize their children about hell.
Yeah.
That, religion does that to people.
Well, and also there are a lot of parents. Ours were a little bit like this, where they use church, the church experience to kind of outsource some parenting to
Sure.
The kids can be there for a few hours. They can go to Sunday school, and they might not really be thinking about what's happening there.
Right.
Right. And I think you need to think about what's happening there.
Yeah.
Well, and also there's this, there's a sense of This is also a thing that's present in the minds of these parents. So when a kid, for instance, says, "Mom, Dad, I think I'm gay," or "Mom," or any number of things, they suddenly realize, well, shit, I've lost this one. If I can't bring them back into the fold, I have to cut them off because Jesus will put me into that fire.
Yep.
And it's so yeah. I mean, it's not just the evil that the trauma that you're implanting into your child. You yourself are also traumatized, and it can cause you to do horrific things.
Right. This is like the cycle of abuse.
Yeah.
Right. It's very hard if you've come from an abusive situation, whether it was physical or psychological or sexual or whatever. It can be very, very hard to break that cycle. And this is an emotional, mental form of abuse. And it's so terrifying that parents will perpetrate it on their children.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're so scared of the whole prospect.
Right. And it's specifically designed so that in order to avoid hell, if you believe in hell, you have to implant the people around you with the same fear.
It's completely insidious.
It's a virus that is programmed to self-replicate.
And what's funny about it, too, is, one of the first questions you get asked as an atheist by particularly Christians is, well, what do you think happens after we die?
Yeah.
And, our response is, well, my response at least is, I don't know. I think nothing.
Yeah.
Which, in the context of this conversation, would be a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no lake of fire waiting for me. There's
Right.
no eternal misery. Shouldn't you be happy about that at least?
Yeah. And so that kind of I should say there's a funny aside. A guy tweeted in about this whole children thing. Adam from Twitter, who said, "I do confess, as a youth minister, I showed a clip of Tim Curry as the horned beast from Legend as an illustration of hell. So ashamed of that now." But it gets to this other question, which is leaving the children thing aside. What is the morality of thinking that the Jewish family down the street or the gay guy up the way are going to spend eternity swimming in lava because some random guy in your church who believes that the Left Behind series is prophetic said so? Or what is the morality of wanting people who read a very slightly different version of the Bible than you do to spend countless billions of years in the 3 million degree Kelvin incinerator that is hell?
Or fucking just another Christian who doesn't Christian hard enough.
That's another element of this insanity is hell is not just for Hitler.
No.
If you're a Christian, hell is for the Lutherans.
Yeah.
And hell is for, what is it, the United Methodists that just split?
Yeah, or
Hell is for the other side.
right. Whoever's not Christianing my way and my way to the correct degree.
The perfectly religious Jewish family that worships the same God you do.
Right.
Right.
A guy who's just one sin below the line.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then some, he jaywalked one too many times.
Does the ritual wrong or doesn't pronounce the word right.
Right.
Everyone's going to hell.
As we talked about last week in that British children's book of hell, the girl who wore her dress about the town.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
She's going to hell forever.
Yeah.
So
Enjoy your fire dress.
there are people in every let's just leave it with the United States for a moment. There are people in every fucking neighborhood in this country who you pass on the street and you wave as you drive by, your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who look at you, and in their mind, it's completely okay to think that single man or that divorced woman is going to burn forever, and that's fine.
Right.
It's how it has to be.
That is so psychotic to me.
It is. There's nothing good that can come from it. I
Right.
mean, and even if it's a motivator to do good things, there are a million better motivations for someone to do a good thing than the belief that you or they will end up in hell forever.
Yeah.
There's no good that comes from this.
There is no good. There is no good at all. I mean, parents
Yeah.
thinking that their queer kid or whatever, their kid that just doesn't go to church every Sunday,
Right.
their own child is going to burn in hell forever. We don't talk about this enough as a society.
Right.
I agree.
We do not talk about the fact that there is this psychosis abroad in the land where people think this is an acceptable thing.
Right.
Obviously, they haven't done any of the examination to figure out what the evolution of the idea of Christian hell is,
Right.
and how absurd it is. But leaving that aside, they accept that there is an eternal furnace where their fellow citizens, people on the PTA board.
Nearly everybody.
Their kids' teacher. Nearly everybody in the world is going to go.
Right. Entire civilizations that just happened to be born without Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about in the first segment, the Old Testament prophets
Yeah.
are in hell.
Right.
Because Jesus hadn't come yet. So, I personally think that's part of the reason, at least in this country, our criminal justice system is so fucking awful.
Right.
Because the good Christian men that write the laws, they think the torments of hell are a perfectly good thing for bad people to suffer. And secondly, throw a kid into solitary for 20 years because it's not as bad as hell.
Right.
Yeah, and
It's an infection.
Well, and it also presents a model of punishment. And frankly, for adult humans, punishment means nothing. You know what I mean? Punitive, punishment isn't what people are trying to avoid. What we should be doing with imprisoned people is attempts at rehabilitation.
Yes, exactly.
And
not retribution, but rehabilitation.
Right. We should be enfranchising people back into society so that they can be productive members of society rather than punishing them and then just ensuring that once they get out, they are broken people or they are
who can never function
exactly
again.
right.
or they go back to
Crime.
criminal ways.
But this belief in hell and eternal punishment informs these people who are passing laws that make it so ex-felons can't vote, the extending prison sentences for all kinds of crimes. The whole idea is you do something wrong, you pay a debt to society. Once you've paid that debt, you're back.
Right.
But if you believe that evil is forever and punishment is forever, then you throw away the key.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you believe that it says several times in the Bible and other canons that people are a certain color because of sin in a different life,
That's
right.
then what does it fucking matter? This is such an infection on every level of our society. So I'll kind of close it up by saying, hell as we know again, which is not really in the Bible, and the Bible cannot be used for evidence of it, is a form of terrorism. It's a preposterous lie and an inexcusable form of abuse to plant in the fertile, trusting mind of children. It causes a lifelong, and our listeners talk about this in all of the things they send in, it causes a lifelong series of traumas that some people can never escape, even if they want to. It disfigures the human mind and makes living an intellectually and emotionally free, healthy life nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Consciously mutilating another person, especially a child in this way, ought to be a fucking crime. So, here's my how-to advice on this. If your children are in an institution that uses the technique of teaching hell to enforce conformity to whatever, get them the fuck out. Or at least help inoculate your children against an unauthorized adult trying to plant it in them by properly explaining that the idea of wanting people different than you to be on fire at all,
Right.
let alone forever, is an evil one and a ridiculous one to boot. And just as infuriatingly, there was a story about that kid who killed himself, and the Catholic priest got up and said, well, he's in hell now, and like teenager, right? So the process of losing a loved one is pretty fucking awful. To have someone who somehow feels authorized to intrude into your family's pain and say your relative is going to eternal torment because some asshole doesn't know how to read a book they claim to love. Again, it was as the case of this 17-year-old kid, the priest saying at his funeral, he's going to hell forever, and the father asking more than once for him to stop. I would say the curb outside should await their unwelcome ass, and I would suggest if someone intrudes into your pain like that, make it a day that they'll never forget. So, I just think this is one of the most weirdly under-examined problems in our society, and I hope this is helpful because I think we should think about it more.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
So,
And if anybody ever tries to scare you in this way, tell them to go to hell.
Go to hell.
go to blazes. All right. Well, with that, let's move on.
Moving on.
Well, friends, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Aw, well, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a book that you've written that's over 100,000 couplets, send us an email at howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you're more arrow than man, call 911. But after you've done that, tell us about your experience at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. I'm also on Twitter at HowToHeretic.
Hey, thanks so much to our patrons. We love you the most.
And thanks to Cody Layton, who is more man than arrow, for editing our show.
And thank all of you, friends, for tuning in.
Bye, friends.
Farewell.